everybody, Razorblade Mango here, and today I want to talk about some rather disappointing updates from one of my very favorite games from last year, and one of the very few games that I consider to be, and you notice how I said that in past tense, considered to be one of the very few games that represented all the positive things I'd like to see in the game industry. And that would be Rocket League. And unfortunately now I can't say that anymore. And it makes me sad and I'm disappointed to say that. Because Rocket League is going to get microtransactions. So it's finally happened. And I warned everyone about this back in my, things I hated the most about 2015, that microtransactions are only going to get worse in this year. And it's not only infecting games that I'm looking forward to, like Battlefield 1, or they were in Uncharted 4. I think they're going to be in what is that game called? What is that called? Damn it. I'll think of it. I'll think of it later, but it's like everywhere I turn for games that I'm looking forward to, it's always like, oh, it's going to get microtransactions. Oh, here you go. It's microtransactions in this game, microtransactions in that game. And now we're starting to get updates from games that didn't have microtransactions before, and now they're getting them. The most famous example would have been Payday 2, which their microtransactions were just so bluntly cynical and terrible, and thankfully they removed them recently, which hats off to them. And now Rocket League is going to get it. So I'm reading from IGN. Of course, I'm going to link the page in the description box. So this is what the article says. Rocket League to get Counter-Strikey loot crates. Psyonix has confirmed that its vehicular football/soccer phenomenon will receive a paid loot crate system, not unlike Counter-Strike. After an image of a crate and key leaked over the weekend, Psyonix Vice President Jeremy Dunham took to Reddit to explain what the system will be and what it's in aid of. He said, "Those assets are indeed early pieces of an upcoming system we plan on implementing to fund our esports prize pools and events. We plan on officially announcing it next month at or near the RLCS Live Finals, since it directly relates to that event and other events like it. But since this image came out before our official word, we wanted to clarify some things for you." And he went on to reassure concerned players that A. Crates will only contain cosmetic items and will have no effect on the gameplay. B. Players who have no interest will be able to hide all mention of the system through a menu checkbox. C. The system won't affect the game's current play-based item drop system. Or D. The game's current DLC policy of free and paid game-changing content will not change. Dunham also addressed the recent controversy over blah blah blah. Oh, yeah, this is important. He said, addressed the recent controversy over CSGO's loot box betting sites, pointing out that Rocket League's system will not allow for crates to be used in the same way. He says, "There will be no Steam Marketplace integration with crates," he wrote. "We are definitely aware of the problem related to third-party gambling in other games, and we are not interested in taking that approach." So, I've had a little bit to reflect on this, and I think my initial thought, like my knee-jerk reaction was, oh shit, like fuck, this is really, this is disappointing. And I still think it is disappointing. So let me go through this point by point and give my opinion on each thing. So starting with, this is a system that they plan on implementing to fund their esports prize pools and events. Now, I've seen this excuse used before. I've seen this reason given before for stuff like Halo 5, I think, was the last thing I remember them saying, we need this money to fund our pools for tournaments. And unlike Microsoft, which Microsoft is a multi-billion-dollar company, and I don't think that excuse is justified, because I think if they can buy companies like Mojang, I think they can put money aside for a Halo 5 tournament prize pool. They did not need the requisition systems for Halo 5. And I kind of feel that way about this as well. Rocket League sold, I think right here it says it passed $110 million in sales. And I don't think that's with I think that's just the vanilla version of the game alone. That's not including the DLC that's been released for it, like the Batman stuff and the Back to the Future stuff. Cool DLC. And I'll be the first one to admit that I have been, at every little bit of DLC that's come out for the game, I've bought, sure. I felt like supporting this company. I was like, you know what? They did so well handling this game and making it free of microtransactions, having it be very consumer friendly, to now go out and be like, oh well, now we're going to add a loot crate system, which is a randomized premium skin box kind of thing, just to fund the esports prize pools and events. I always find that very sketchy. I don't know if sketchy is the right word. I always find that very debatable, because if they really did make $110 million in sales, couldn't they put aside like $1 million of that money for their tournament? Why do they need this system, this like random microtransaction loot drop system to fund their prize pools? They could, I'm pretty sure, and this is just, their sales for the game are going to keep climbing, because no matter what I say about this loot crate system, I want to strictly reiterate the fact that I fucking love Rocket League. And if I didn't care, I wouldn't be talking about this. Because, there are people that want me to do, like subjects of certain stuff, and I understand. I get it. I understand that certain subjects like the CSGO stuff is a big thing. The cross-gen, the irritating like cross-gen stuff that still happens in games, and certain other stuff. But honestly, I don't care about a lot of that. Now, this is one thing I do care about, because I do love the game that this affects. I think Rocket League is a fantastic game, even now with this microtransaction system. And it's the same with like Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2. I think is a fantastic game, even with its microtransaction system. But I always just find that excuse iffy, of them needing this microtransaction system to fund their esports prize pools and events, which I'd rather they do something like a $10... Like, why couldn't... They really recently released that collector's edition of Rocket League. Why couldn't the funds from that have funded this event? It might not have sold like $1 million, but it could have gone towards funding the prize pool for an event. Why not release a like a $10 big DLC thing, like with new arenas, new cars, new skins, stuff like that, like a big thing. Like, you get a lot of content for $10, and that I'd be okay with. I don't see anything wrong with that. I'm sure there are people that will argue that that's worse, but I don't agree at all. I would rather have something that costs a set price, where I'm going to get exactly what I want from that, rather than something that's randomized, and I'll have to keep spending money over and over and over and over again to get stuff that I want, which I don't like. I really don't like random loot drop systems. I guess it's come to that point where I'm going to have to break microtransactions into categories, I guess. It's gotten to that point where I honestly consider random loot drops to be my least favorite type of microtransaction, because unlike microtransactions where... God, I cannot believe I'm doing this. Unlike microtransactions where I feel just dirty saying this, unlike microtransactions where it's a premium currency, you buy money towards a fucking premium currency, You're going to get what you want with that premium courtesy. You're going to have a choice as to what you want. But this like randomized loot shit, I always hate this idea because you could spend hundreds of dollars and still not get the stuff that you want. And I always find that I find to be just shady as fuck and dirty, and I don't like that. And I don't like this. I don't like that this is what Rocket League is going to be. Alright, so the next point, they said, crates will only contain cosmetic items and will have no effect on the gameplay. Now, as with Overwatch, I'm already hearing people, and one of my subscribers, messaged me and was like, hey, it's only cosmetics, it's not that big of a deal. I disagree. I think a big part of Rocket League is decking your car out and making it look really fucking cool. So, customization is a big part of Rocket League. It was like one of the big selling points. So, to then gate off, and it's probably, I guarantee you all the cosmetic items that they're going to have for it are going to look really cool. So, to now have those items gated off, to have it be like, oh, you can only get these through this microtransaction system. And it's like, hey, I only want that one skin, but I need to pay, an unknown amount of money to get it. I think that, that ties back to the first point. I think that's just the worst kind of microtransaction you can have. You're not even paying for what you want. You're paying for a chance to get what you want. I hate that. I hate that. But cosmetic items, yeah, they don't affect the gameplay. They don't make you better or stronger or whatever, but they still are a part of the game. They are still a feature in the game. You are still paying that initial $20 to get the game, to get the initial stuff. And then there's all these little micro DLC things out there where it's you pay $2 to get the Batmobile, you pay $2 to get the DeLorean from Back to the Future, you pay $3 to get 2 new cars and stuff like that. They don't affect the game, but there's already cosmetic items out there that have been sold for a price for DLC, and now to come in and be like, hey, here's even cooler stuff that now we're going to have you go through a microtransaction system to get, I don't like that. I really don't like it. And I think that, especially for Rocket League, which I've gone on many times to say that it's pro-consumer, it's a very consumer-friendly game, it represents all the positive things that I want to see in this industry, to now bring this in and to muddy the water it makes me very, very disappointed in Psyonix. And unlike a lot of companies, which a lot of the publishers force developers to do this, Psyonix, they self-published Rocket League, so this is on them. This is their decision, and they are not being controlled by any publisher, so this is a choice that they made. So all the blame for this, I'm putting directly on Psyonix, who have really disappointed me. Moving on to the next point. Players who have no interest will be able to hide all mention of the system through a menu checkbox. That's a nice sentiment, and I'm definitely going to do that. But it's not like I forget that this game now supports microtransactions. I mean, it's nice that you're giving us the option to hide this system, but that doesn't make it go away in the game. That you're just hiding it from me. I know it's still in there, so I appreciate the gesture, but okay. Then the system won't affect the game's current play-based item drop system. Not yet, anyway. Not yet, and they say this, but as I've said many times before, as I said last in the Injustice 2 video when I was talking about the microtransactions from MKX, is that whenever a microtransaction system comes out, there is always that psychological toll that comes with it where you think, did the developers now tinker with the game to make microtransactions more appealing? And that's definitely what they did for Mortal Kombat X. I doubt Psyonix is going to do that. I don't think they would stoop that low, to fuck with the current play-based item drop system, but just because they say it does not mean it couldn't happen in the future. So that's something I definitely have to keep an eye out for. And the game's current DLC policy of free and paid game-changing content will not change. And you know what? I appreciate half of that. And I'd rather they get rid of the paid game stuff. Now that I know that this microtransaction system is in place, I'd rather they scrap all future plans to have paid content and just stick with the microtransaction thing. Because I don't like this whole system of it's gonna get. I'm pretty sure I know they'll probably try their best to juggle all the different ways you can get content, but I'd rather they keep it simple and cut. I'd definitely prefer they scrap the microtransaction thing. I mean, fuck, I definitely would take that. But between if they're going to say, you know, this microtransaction thing is here to stay, I'd rather they cut out the paid content. Stop that, because now you've got the microtransaction thing, and they're probably going to make gangbusters from that. And then they just keep the free shit every so often, which is nice. And I appreciate they're still going to keep the free shit, which they've done a fantastic job supporting. And my opinion on that will not change. They've done a fucking phenomenal job of supporting this game post-launch. I still go back to it every so often with friends, and we play all the extra content and stuff like that. The hoops mode is fun. I'm very happy that they kept the hockey rink mode in. It's a great game, and the way they've continued to fuck, I had brain fart. They continue to they just continue to add cool shit into it. I'm not gonna try to even remember the word. I'm having a fucking brain fart right now. But yeah, that's just my opinion. I'd rather they just stick with the two different DLC delivery systems. Free microtransaction, rather than free paid microtransaction. So, and there will be something that I'm gonna see in the premium shit that I'm gonna be like, I want that. And then I'm gonna go, oh wait, that's only for the microtransactions. Fuck. And it's gonna make me feel like I haven't gotten my money's worth from the... I mean, I've gotten my money's worth from the game. I didn't even fucking pay for it, but, you know, it's still, it's gonna have that psychological toll on me. And then he addressed the CSGO loot box betting thing, which, good. There's going to be no Steam Marketplace integration. That would be a stupid move on their part. If, even after all this crap with the Counter-Strike Go thing recently, to then go, oh yeah, we're going to have a Steam Marketplace environment for it. And people are going to go, what the fuck, are you kidding me? Like, how can you imagine how tone-deaf that would have been if they had done this? So, that's just more common sense than something that's, you know, worthy of applause. That's just more common sense. But yeah, I'm disappointed in this, and yet I don't. Unlike other games, like Star Wars Battlefront that did this, and now Destiny is doing it. Destiny and Battlefront have like hoard out their fan base so much that it's the inclusion of microtransactions just felt like just gross, and I hated it. And I hate it too with Rocket League. I just don't hate it as much. It's more disappointing than infuriating. Where it's infuriating with other games, it's just very, very, very disappointing with Rocket League to see microtransactions in here now. And even if they are just cosmetic only, even if they are just, you know, they're there to, and you can hide it and stuff like that, it is there. Microtransactions have entered Rocket League. It's there. And there's still some details on it are fuzzies. Like, are we gonna get repeats of stuff that we've gotten in the past with the loot drops, like Overwatch, or is there gonna be some kind of? There's probably gonna be some kind of trade-in system, which that is another thing I don't like, because if you get duplicates, then you're just paying money for duplicates, and that I hate that shit. So there's still stuff that they need to clarify. There's still stuff that they need to be specific on. And I might make another video of this when we know even more concrete details, when we know exactly what's going to be with this system. So there's that. And I guess just overall, the only thing I really want to say is it didn't have to be this way, Psyonix. It didn't. I know you talk about how, we have to do this to fund the esports thing. No, you don't. You really, really don't. This is not the only way. You made a conscious business decision. This is not something they came up with overnight. I'm pretty sure, and I had a gut feeling that this rare item trade-in system that they put into Rocket League, I don't care for it, but it did make me worry that, ooh, this sounds like a stepping stone to microtransactions. I'll have to keep an eye on this. And that's pretty much what it was. It's now a stepping stone for microtransactions, and here you go. Rocket League has microtransactions, so it's come full circle now. But yeah, now this just makes me concerned. What other games are going to get microtransactions that I like multiplayer stuff? When's my favorite game of the year so far? Doom going to get microtransactions for their multiplayer. I love the multiplayer for Doom. I still play it. And part of that is hey, I don't have to. There's no dumb microtransaction system in place. It doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't feel like a pay to play game. It doesn't feel like a free to play game. Sorry. Anywho, but yeah, it's disappointing. That's all I really can say. It's just really disappointing. Alright, thank you guys for watching. If you'd like to see, subscribe. Let me know what you think of these microtransactions. Just let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Oh, and last thing before I go. I've had a project floating around in my head for the past few months, and the wheels have finally started to turn on that becoming a reality. I've been in contact with the people that I want to do this with, and it's going to be something that, it's once I reveal to you guys what it's going to be, you're going to be like, ah, of course, that's what it's going to be. So, I don't want to say anything, super concrete or reveal, a specific time date or whatever, but the wheels are finally turning on this project that I've wanted to do for a while. So I'll have more word on that if the stars align and things happen, so keep an ear out for that. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Have a good one. Take care.